What is good, YouTube, man? How is everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a fantastic start to their Monday. Listen, man, a lot of things within the nation right now. Had to wait a few days for it to all kind of accumulate, right? Because I didn't just want to keep talking about Aaron Rodgers in DC, but guess what? Now we've got some things to actually talk about. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Shout out to everybody already in the building, man. I appreciate all of you guys for pulling through. Shout out to my guys in here. Raider Mark, Halo, what's popping? Marvin, Omar, Gorell, Vibe, David, I am the Bay. Was good. Orlando, Tub, Raiders, Jesse was good. The Silver and Black Report was good. Halo again, my brother, my dog. This dude's name is White Puma. Ruben Russ was good. Tub again. Number Juan was good. Who else we got up in here? Raiders for Life. Alex, Anthony. No compensation for Derek, says Dave. Yeah, it's looking like that. Season is over. Andy was good. Raider was good. Bourbon, Sean, my guy. Who else? James, Jerome, Jesse Bam, Bruce, Bourbon again. Halo today, huh? Foot cars, words don't mean shit. Hey, John. It is what it is. Dominique, Bourbon again, my guy. Saul was popping. BBQ Raider. Who else we got? Gerardo Escobar was popping. Terrence V. I think I caught up with everybody, man. So shout out to all you guys for pulling up. While you come in here, hit that, you feel me? Hit that like button. But look, man, I know a lot of you guys are already mad about what happened in the Super Bowl. Shit, I'm still trying to process what's going on with this quarterback that we were at least supposed to get a little bit of compensation for. But we're going to talk about that. Who else we got up in here? Raider Lens was good. Sergio was popping. DeMarcus, Herman, John. Another John Rodriguez was popping. We got Herman in the building throwing up all the emojis. Shout out to the members of the channel, man. Shout out to the members of the channel. You'll lock a lot of perks with that. And with more and more we get into the off season, there's about to be so much more member stuff again. So shout out to all of you guys, man. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. We already are 100 deep. Let's hit that like button. But check this out, man. Check this out. I really want to give my thoughts and opinions on this one right here. So DC yesterday, right before the Super Bowl Sunday, decides to announce and tell the team that he will not be accepting any trades and he will not be waiving his no trade clause that is within his contract. He said that to the Raiders. It was reported and it went everywhere yesterday. And guess what? As a Raider fan, some guys expected it, some guys didn't. In my opinion, I was like, dog, he's a family man. There's no way this man doesn't accept the trade because he's going to want that extra $12 million. But guess what? He's actually willing to not take a trade to stay on this contract. And to me, that's insane because he's about to lose like 10 to 12, maybe even more on the open market. And if he thinks that this was a prove-it deal that the Raiders put him on, it's going to be an even bigger prove-it deal that any other team puts him on. So DC, he's willing to bet on himself. I mean, that's pretty big to me, right? I definitely was like, oh man, there's no way DC doesn't want to get traded because he's making $40 million, right? His clause will be $40 million guaranteed, and he'll get that all this year. Nah, man. He said, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to go elsewhere. Although he was still able to technically pick and choose with that no trade clause where he goes. Dave Ziegler only let him speak to teams that had already discussed and had already agreed to trade compensation. So there's that. But that is crazy, man. That is really, really big. Some people were talking about maybe using the conversation that we got for DC, flipping it, trying to get Aaron Rodgers. But at this point, where we stand with the picks that we have, that's all we're gonna get, man. That's all we're gonna get. So, at the end of the day, with Dave Ziegler putting that no trade clause in his contract or agreeing to that no trade clause in his contract, it ended up coming back, bite us in the ass 1 year later, just an offseason later. That no trade clause comes into play, and DC is going to be released within these next 48, 72 ish hours, man. And the Raiders will free up all that money in order to go out and be just even able to acquire Aaron Rodgers, right? It was also reported that the Raiders went out and did start getting on the phone, calling Green Bay regarding Aaron Rodgers. We know that Aaron Rodgers is going to do some getaway for himself, the darkness getaway or whatever the fuck you say. But whatever, it is what it is at this point, right? The situation is Derek Carr tells the Raiders he will not be waiving that no trade clause, and he will not accept a trade to any team. He is forcing his release right now within the Raiders, which did surprise me, right? I always knew it was a possibility. I just didn't think that he was going to be willing to let go of an extra 10 to 12, but that man's already set for life, man. He's already set for now for life. So at this point, as a fan base, we're kind of just waiting for that announcement that Derek Carr's gone, that Derek Carr's been released. And with with Tom Brady retiring, with Lamar Jackson most likely going back to the Ravens, we can easily say that Derek Carr is going to be the number one quarterback on the market. The number one quarterback on the market with ease, man, with ease. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for sure in these next few days, because that's when it's all going to go down, right? The Super Bowl is now done and dusted. Fuck that game. That shit was interesting. It was a good game, but it looked a little off. So I mean, at the end of the day, he's forcing his release. He does not want to accept. He does not want to work with the team, and I completely understand it. I completely understand, right? Himself internally, he feels like, I guess, the Raiders did him wrong. Uh, I don't see that. I don't see how the Raiders could have done him wrong. They gave him money and whatever it was, right? So he feels like the Raiders did him wrong. He's going out on his own terms. He wants to be released. He wants to negotiate with whoever he wants to negotiate. And at the end of the day, it's gonna be over within these next 2 days. So at the end of the day, it's about to be done for. We can all finally say we are finally moving on. Now, for those of you guys who want to move on with him and wherever he goes, DC and his crew, fuck out of here, man. It is what it is. If the Raiders want to play hardball with Carr, they could choose to not release Carr and force him to waive the no trade clause or stay home. Only thing is, Mark Davis would be on the hook for $40 million. So here's something, right? And shout out to Anthony for bringing this up, right? If the Raiders actually do want to play hardball, check it out. Within these next 2 days, if we were to cut DC, we get $40 million back into our cap space, just like that. $40 million we get right back into this year's pot, right? So that's big. But something that's not told about a lot is that actually, if we hold on to DC until June, so after the draft, if we hold on to DC until June with a trade, we could still save $33 million as a post June trade, post June cut. We could still save $33 million. So you're saving $7 million less, but you're still saving a big chunk of change right before a whole lot of things happen, right? So at the end of the day, you could play super hardball and keep him basically out of every offseason thing he can be with any other team, and we could actually fuck him, that would be bad for him, right? Because he'd be missing out on all these months to be with another team, and the Raiders could actually fuck him. We could fuck him over. We could really do that, and I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think that's gonna happen because if you go ahead and keep him until June, that means that you can't acquire Aaron Rodgers until June. That means that you're not really gonna be able to make these big time spending throughout free agency, which is why I don't see that happening. But yeah, if the Raiders wanted to, the Raiders could also give him the finger as well. So yeah, there's that.
Jackpot, baby!
Shout out to my guy Old School Man. He says, "What can you buy for 40 million that you can't buy with 25 to 30?" Yeah, man. I think that at the end of the day, that's really all that it came down to, right? At the end of the day, we were giving him more than what we felt like he was giving us on the field. And it just didn't make sense, right? The contract didn't make sense. If DC went out there and threw for 45 touchdowns and had 13 interceptions, yeah, that's worth the $40 million price tag. But instead we got 22 and 15 picks, right? So it was like it just simply wasn't worth the investment that we put into it, and the contract, the value just really wasn't it wasn't a fair contract. So at the end of the day, the Raiders are moving on. With this release that should happen within the next day or two, we will have a lot of money back in the bank. We can acquire Aaron Rodgers with that money now. We can immediately use that clause that's in his contract to drop his price tag all the way down to $15 million, which is less than I believe what Colton Miller is going to make this year against the cap. So we could really do a lot of things acquiring for Aaron Rodgers. But my thing is, though, is that with Aaron Rodgers, right, we don't have those couple extra draft picks, right, that we would have got for DC now. We now are looking at a situation with, okay, we didn't get a trade for DC. We didn't get Tom Brady through free agency. He retired. We're now going to either have to the Raiders, the plans, I feel like this offseason have changed multiple times within this organization. I really do. I think that the first plan was to get Tom Brady. That failed. Second plan was, okay, well, at least we're going to get something out of DC. That failed. Now we're moving on to our third thing in this offseason, and that's hopefully getting Aaron Rodgers. But guess what? There's somebody in the building right now that we're going to talk about that's consistently said that he wants to be a Raider, that led the league in rushing, that had 2,000 yards of offense. And we've completely had to neglect him because we're trying to find who's the next QB. What are we going to do with our QB? This. And he's not getting the attention he needs, he wants. So we're going to get into that in a little bit too. But look, man, you gotta move quick in this league. That's just how it is. You have to move quick, and unfortunately, everything around us has moved quick besides finding our next quarterback, right? So we'll see what happens at the end of the day. DC, he's forcing his release. He doesn't want to accept any trade, which he doesn't have to. It's within his contract. He doesn't have to accept the trade. So there's that. I mean, there's that. That's really the big news, man. I think that for whatever reason, there's a lot of people that try and say they're Raider fans, say that they're happy with that situation, that they're happy that DC did that. I mean, ugh. I'm sorry. I think I just made a lot of you guys yawn. I think that if you're really a Raider fan, you would have at least wanted a fifth round pick for DC. But hey, man, there was multiple teams that agreed to a trade. We just we had our player playing hardball, man. At the end of the day, so he's choosing to leave, and he wants to be for every 31 other teams to look at, right? So we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, it's his decision. It may not help us. It's not going to benefit us. But what I will say is that we could finally close this chapter of the Raiders, dude. Like it's finally actually going to be over. Like it's actually going to be over. And I think that's what a lot of people are just asking for at this point. So it's like I said, like I kept saying, bro, it's his decision. He doesn't want to work with the Raiders. He didn't want to push that February 15th date back. I get that. He didn't want to accept any trades. We were like, you know what? We've got X amount of teams that already agreed to compensation. you could go talk with those teams. And then he came back and said, no, Super Bowl Sunday, I'm not doing that. So, yeah, they ended up getting that info yesterday within the front office. So that means that his mind was probably made up by the time he was on his way back from New Orleans. He probably was talking to New Orleans saying that, no, I'm not going to take any compensation. I'm not going to make you guys trade for me. I'm going to just force my way out. You guys you guys just get me on the free agent side. So it's like my thing is that, like, look, uh he preached so much about the Raiders and how much he loved them and how he'd never play for another organization. And really, it's all just BS, dude. Like, dude, he literally said it in his little goodbye boo hoo message. He said it, man. It didn't go his way, so he's going to go back on his word. He said he never thought it would end like this. Therefore, he's ready for what's next with the next team. He's going back on his word. From a guy that self-proclaimed loved the team so much, is not willing to help, is not willing to do anything. So on top of having such a shitty season, on top of getting benched because rightfully so, you lost us our chance at the playoffs. It's just like, come on, dude. Like you're looking like a crybaby. You're looking like an immature little kid. And on top of that, he's not willing to say what the Raiders did wrong to him. So it's like asking somebody, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm fine. You look like you're pouting, dude. You look like you're pouting, man. And it's just
Jackpot, baby!
Shout out to Ruben Russ. He says, if DC takes a huge pay cut, what is he really proving? He is the reason we couldn't pay Mac. We need a rookie QB that we could build around. Good teams build through the draft, Chiefs, Eagles, rosters. The Chiefs are the exception, though. The Chiefs are that exception, right? Their quarterback is making a good amount of money right now. The Eagles, you're right. The rest of the playoffs teams, basically, besides the Cowgirls, right? We're all making a good shot with a young QB, right? I mean, you look at the Niners made it far, Eagles, Joe Burrow with the Bengals. I think, yeah, no, Josh Allen got bounced out, so we'll see. But yes, it's definitely time to move on. You're right. With DC taking a massive pay cut to go to the next team, he's not really proven anything, right? Why didn't you do it here? Why didn't you do it here, right? Why didn't you take that massive pay cut and try and win here, right? It all looks weird, man. It all looks weird. You're right. He's not proving anything with a massive pay cut on the next roster he goes to. So we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, it's just about done for, right? We're just waiting on that text. We're just waiting on that call. We're waiting on that notification at this point, right? The DC's been released. And once that happens, we can now say, okay, we need to find a way to get X, Y, or Z, right? And at the end of the day, that's who we're trying to figure out. Who is the X, who is the Y, and who's the Z for the Raiders right now at that quarterback position? Is it Stidham? Is it Rodgers? Is it Richardson? Is it CJ Stroud? Who are those three guys? Who are those three guys that the Raiders are really, really looking at? Who are they? So we'll see, man. We'll really see. At the end of the day, well, at the end of the day, man, this is not something that's gonna hurt the team, right? Because I was saying before, I think best case scenario we would have got a second round pick for him, and I was always never preparing for the best case scenario. I said no, first round pick for DC is too much. You're not getting that. Second round pick is probably the highest you can get. I was expecting a third or a fourth, right? So that's a mid round pick. That's not like a major roster altering change, right? That we're gonna be without maybe a third or a fourth round pick. I mean, a lot of people are saying that maybe you could have used that to acquire Aaron Rodgers. I think that maybe Aaron Rodgers could be dealt for a lot less than what a lot of people are thinking. Especially myself. I was thinking two first, 2 seconds. I was thinking that they were going to want everything for Aaron Rodgers. And I still think that they would want that, but I don't know if they're going to get that, right? And I saw somebody in here say that the Jets have been open and said that they're going to go all out for him. I don't think that he's going to want to go to the Jets. He could just say, nope, I'm not going there. And he could say, you know what, I'll retire and you guys won't get nothing out of me. And then he could kind of shit on the Packers the way that DC could kind of shit on us, kind of just shit on us, right? So we'll see. At the end of the day, we need to figure out what the option is at quarterback, man. What that option is at quarterback, because it's a QB-driven league at this point. And we got all the weapons, so it's going to be attractive to any QB in the league to try and come here. There's just not much that the Raiders can really do at this point. You could wait until the draft, or you can maybe try and make a trade soon. But we'll see, man. We'll see what happens. At the end of the day, we've got to find a change, man. We've got to find a change, whether that changes CJ Stroud, whether that changes Stidham, whether that changes fucking Anthony Richardson, whether it's fucking Aaron Rodgers. All I hope is that it's not Jimmy G. that's what I'm saying, right? You know, I don't want to move on from DC to get fucking Jimmy G. But I do want to move on to this next topic, though, right? Josh Jacobs, he's been pretty freaking vocal lately about his contract situation, about what he wants to do, about what he's willing to accept, and all this kind of thing. So, first things first, right? The franchise tag. The franchise tag is something that needs to be used. We have many players right now that we don't have many players right now that we could use a franchise tag. We have one. We have one guy that we could use the franchise tag on. And that one player is Josh Jacobs. Now, many people thought that it would be controversial to use that franchise tag on Josh Jacobs. He may not like it. He's not going to play on the franchise tag. Wrong. That man has already came out and said on a CBS interview that he is willing to play on the franchise tag as long as they built around him. Like as long as they got major pieces in, which is perfect, right? That's what we would have expected anyways. You franchise tag him and then you build like crazy. You get him on $10.1 million. You build your roster up like crazy. He was also vocal. He said, we need a lot of stuff on defense. We need stuff up front. So he knows what the Raiders need, right? And on top of that, at the Pro Bowl, he also knows the 3 quarterbacks that the Raiders have in mind. So with Josh Jacobs saying multiple times that this is where he wants to be, that he holds all the records here. He wants to continue to break records. He wants to continue to build his legacy as a Raider, and he wants to stay a Raider. He also said he is willing to play on that franchise tag as long as he sees that commitment where they're building and bringing in major pieces all along the roster, which to me makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Now, it's not like Josh Jacobs is saying no to other teams, though. Josh Jacobs has also said that he will test free agency. He said that he would feel dumb if he didn't test free agency, right? He doesn't want to just allow any team to disrespect him. But here's the bad part. Running backs are everywhere. We saw every quarterback right now that basically makes over $12 million is not doing good. The running back class this year is pretty damn good. The free agency class for running backs is pretty damn good. Unfortunately, this isn't the time for a running back to try and get paid. There's just too many options. Now, a franchise tag, maybe a lot of people say that would make him angry, but the fact of the matter is he said that he's willing to play on it. Now, there's 2 things that I want to talk about in that CBS interview that happened. Look, Josh Jacobs has played with Derek Carr his entire career. Josh Jacobs has played with Derek Carr his entire career. In an interview with CBS, the interviewer was taking shots at DC. He said that DC throws a lot of passes and he also cries a lot. Those were the exact words. He said, and Derek Carr cries a lot, right? Josh Jacobs, in my eyes, somebody that was supposed to be like, nah, bro, that's my bro. Like for me, like that's my quarterback. He didn't take that with offense at all. He started laughing and he turned the other way and started laughing, right? And this is all in an interview. So my thing is that shit, maybe DC had lost the locker room. Maybe people just weren't confident in what he was putting down on the table. So for a running back that has been with you his entire career to start laughing when somebody said that you're fucking a crybaby, that's not a good thing, bro. Like DC, you may have lost that locker room and you don't even know it, bro. But back to what I was saying. Uh, like I said, he did say that he was fine with playing under a franchise tag, which is very good. That's great for us. That's great for business. Um, on top of that, he did say that he is going to test free agency and he would feel stupid to not do so. In my opinion, I think that it makes the best sense. It makes the best sense to go out, franchise tag Josh Jacobs, and then extend upon his franchise tag so that you can make his cap hit this year even lower. Even lower, right? So there's that. At the end of the day, I think that makes a lot of sense. You know, give Jacobs 3 years, right? He just turned 25 or 26. He could get another contract within his 20s still. So if you give him the franchise tag and then you give him a 2-year extension on top of that, that's a 3-year deal, right? And I think that it would make a lot of sense to make that 3-year deals, 3 years, 35 million, right? 35 million. Give him fucking 20 of that guaranteed so that by the second year of the contract, when he's heading into his final season, if he's not playing up to standards, there's a way out on that contract. And I think that makes him happy, right? Because I don't think any team is going to guarantee any more than $20 million to a running back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens with Josh Jacobs. It's very interesting. Did Waller call Carr a crybaby? Damn, that's a fucking tongue twister. No, but Waller was also on an interview, and Skip Bayless was just there fucking toasting, like straight up just killing DC. And Waller also didn't come to his defense either. So the more that this comes out, right, and the more that DC tries to say, I'm not gonna talk about my truth, the more shit that comes out about this situation and the more players that talk about this fucking situation, the more it seems like these players lost the trust, lost the faith in this guy, right? If you got your fucking players laughing at you, you got another player on air while someone's just straight up ripping you and they're not defending you, bro, like that doesn't look good. That does not look good. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. A lot of this stuff is going to get found out very, very soon. Waller did say he appreciated DC. Hell yeah. Waller got paid because of DC. But I'll tell you this, Waller's production also went down because of DC. There was multiple times where we felt like Waller was open. Waller could have got the ball here. And he wasn't getting the ball, right? He wasn't getting the ball. And I don't think that's schematics, right? I think that you look at this offense historically, and they're always throwing the ball to their tight ends. You also look at what the Patriots did last year or 2 years ago, bringing in 2-star tight ends in free agency, and those tight ends both had at least like 8 touchdowns apiece. One of them had over 10 touchdowns. They make it a fucking staple of their offense to get the ball to that tight end. So I think that a lot of his production went up and also went down with DC. I think that it went up at the perfect time. It went up when it was time to get a contract, and then it went down, right? And also those injuries. So it's not all DC, right? But those injuries at the same time too. So it makes sense at the end of the day. But we'll see. Yeah, DC literally made Waller a star. He absolutely did. But can you tell me that when Waller was playing with DC this year, what did DC do for Waller? Nothing. What did Stidham do for Waller? Waller had over 150 something yards in the last 2 games of the season. combined, obviously. A touchdown. Like, Waller was playing a lot better, dude. Like, the ball was getting to Waller. The ball was getting to our playmakers. How many times throughout the season, especially in the beginning of the year, I was always looking at this and I was saying, why is a guy like DC who's played so much with Devontae? It seemed like he was trusting Mac Hollins more. It seemed like in the beginning of the season he trusted Mac Hollins more. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. How many games did Waller play this year? He was hurt. He was hurt. I agree. But at that end of the season, when he was healthy, when when it was time to make that run, when our offense was getting to full strength, when we got Hunter back, when we got Waller back, we shit the bed. We shit the fucking bed. So yeah, we'll see. Waller dropped that game was bad. That game was bad. That was against Tennessee, I believe, right? Carr fans celebrate right now. Was that just Gruden then? Waller hasn't been himself without Gruden. Waller looked great in those last 2 games of the season. That looked like Waller to me. Waller looked great when he was getting fade balls at the beginning of the year. I believe against the Chargers, 1-on-1. Nigga, give me that. He was like, just give me those, right? So he did a really good job at the beginning of the season, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, how many games? Yeah, he missed a lot of games. Will Lamar go to the Raiders? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I believe Hardball has said that he expects him to be within their plans. To get a new GM, to get a new offensive coordinator, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Waller's on the trade block, but Stidham did get him involved. I don't know if Waller's going to be on the trade block, to be honest with you. I think that Waller may stay. I think that any QB that's going to come in is going to want Waller on the team. Same with Hunter Renfrow, but I know that there's contracts in here, so we'll see. Regardless, hold on. I would include Waller in the Aaron Rodgers trade and bring in his guy, Robert Tonyan, who he already knows and trusts. Like Kobe said about Dwight, this ain't gonna work. His head ain't in it. I think that Waller or any player would be ecstatic to play with Aaron Rodgers. And I think if you look at the roster, right, every player has just about said so when the question is asked. So we'll see. Keep Carr for one last year. That's what you're hoping for. That's what you're hoping for, man. Raider Reaper, I don't think it's gonna happen, dude. He's trying to force his way out, man. He's really trying to force his way out.
Jump out, baby!
Would you consider trading Renfrow? I don't think he'll live up to his contract, fumble issues, injury concerns, and he's a third option. Yeah, he is a third option at the end of the day. You're right on that. But he is an option in this offense that is very important to the offense, right? This guy, when you look at slot receivers, when you look at tight ends, those are positions that are vital to this offense that is being played. So I would consider it. If a team said, here's a 3rd round pick for Renfrow, you have to accept that, right? At the end of the day, it's just he's a role player and he plays his role well. At the end of the day, so I would consider it if the price is right, but I just don't. I just don't see the need to move on from him. If I'm gonna be honest with you. Tonyan is owed $34 million this year. Hard pass. Damn, I didn't know that he was owed that much. I think he got the tag. You feel me? But yeah. But Andy, you can tell Waller's head ain't in this football shit. He's doing too much other shit. You're an NFL tight end. Focus on that. And then you can do whatever you ain't playing anymore. Yeah, I mean, I do think that it's smart for these guys to keep a keep a lifestyle outside of football. I don't really mind. This is my thing. If Darren Waller is a Pro Bowler, All Pro, I don't give a shit if he's dropping music videos, right? But at the same time, you're right. If he's not that All Pro and he's not that Pro Bowler and he's consistently getting injured on a new contract and he's making music videos and he's making songs, that looks bad. That looks bad. So I agree with half of what you're saying, but I think that they should still be allowed to have their life outside the football, though. How much responsibility does the 17-28 head coach Josh McDaniels have in this? Oh, in this season, he has a lot of the fault. A lot of the fault is on Josh McDaniels. At the beginning of the season, I thought that Josh McDaniels' play calling was really bad. I thought that he just wasn't allowing our best players to make best plays. Now, a lot of that, though, goes on the head coach, and a lot of that also falls on the shoulders of the person on the offense that touches the ball every single play. The one that has that choice on the line of scrimmage. If your fucking head coach says that on 3rd and inches we're gonna run a fucking pass play, you as a fucking quarterback also need to understand that it's also your responsibility when you're out there fighting with your guys to put your guys in the best position to succeed and change that fucking play if it sounds dumb to you. And I don't think that DC did that. I don't think that he did that enough. I don't think that he truly took over this offense. I don't think that DC really did what it is to be a true quarterback, a true leader this year. I don't think so. I think he's done it multiple times in years in the past. This season, I just didn't see the same DC. His completion percentage was the lowest it's ever been in his career since his rookie season. Interceptions, poor, just poor all around, with turnovers this season, fumbles, interceptions, just giving away the ball too much. At the same time, when you're only getting 20 odd touchdowns and you have around 15 picks, that is bad play, right? And how much of that is on the head coach? The head coach is not throwing the football. The head coach was the one that got him Devontae Adams. The head coach was the one that re-signed Darren Waller for his liking, who extended Hunter Renfrow for his liking. So it's like, yeah, a lot of the responsibility goes on the head coach. And I say, out of those 4 losses that we took in the first 5 games of the season, I'd say that easily 2 of those losses were on him. 2 of those losses were on him. But after that first month, I really felt like DC's play just was not good. I felt like at the beginning of the season, he looked fine. He looked like DC. And then it just slowly started shitting the bed. That's really what I see. We'll see. They already started rebuild, just need to commit to the rebuild. It's going to be hard to commit to a rebuild when you have a star at tight end, when you have a star at edge rusher, when you have a star at wide receiver, when you have a star at running back. It's going to be really hard for any team to truly commit to a rebuild at that point. So, yeah. DC, shout out to Hammer in the building. DC is going to be in for a rude awakening when he hits the free agent market. He's not worth that, what he thinks is going to get paid. Absolutely. But I think he understands that. And I think at this point, he just wants the Raiders to not get any trade compensation out of him. And, DC, wherever he goes, he's not going to make the $40 million that he was going to make this year, but he'll still probably make around $25-22 million. And I think that wherever team he goes, we'll just see what happens at the end of the day. But yeah, what's good, Hammer? Salute. Yep. Shout out to my guy Anthony. Do you think teams stay away from using the no trade clause because of what DC is doing? He's leaving the Raiders with nothing. No. At the end of the day, the player negotiates that. The player's agent negotiates that. DC was the one that wanted that. The Raiders weren't like, here, also, you're going to get a no trade clause. No, the DC's party negotiated that. It's just smart, right? It gives the player power on the way out, right? Which is kind of tough. You don't really want to ever give a player power when you're trying to move on. But that's exactly what the no trade clause does. It gives them power on their way out. So yeah.
Jackpot, baby!
Let's see. McDaniels inherited DC and a patchwork roster. We have superstars and UDFAs and 1-year contracts starting. They need to prove they can develop rookies for sure, right? At the end of the day, that's really what that is, right? A lot of people were saying that Josh McDaniels is some shitty whatever the fuck. How shitty would this team really be if Josh McDaniels didn't trade for Devontae Adams? How shitty would this team be if we didn't have Chandler Jones playing the run great at the beginning of the season? How shitty would this team really be if we said, you know what, Hunter Renfrow, you're not getting extended. You're not extending Waller. And then we're out there saying this offseason, instead of just focusing on getting another quarterback, we're now focusing on retaining a running back, a tight end, a wide receiver, and going out and getting a quarterback. He's done a lot of work to this roster already. We're not complete yet. We're not complete at the end of the day. So it is what it is. They need time. I'll give them another year. And if it just doesn't look what it needs to look like, then we'll pack them up, get them out of here. Shout out to my brother Wasted in the building. It was a chess move that backfired. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a chess move. I think that, they negotiated a no trade clause, and there you go. You gave the player power on his way out. That's what it was. Salute, shout out to my guy Wasted again. Yo, salute to my Raider brother Wasted. You already know I pulled up on little bro. Shout out to my guy. My guy Kenny was popping. They thought they were going to get Tom. No, I agree. That is what I mentioned earlier, right? I said that there's been a lot of waves that have moved around this offseason, right? You first thought that you were going to get Tom Brady, that failed. You then thought you were going to get trade compensation for DC, that failed. You're now moving on to a few different plans so far, all in the offseason, which I don't think that they were expecting to, have this many changes, right? I think that you're now moving on to trying to get Aaron Rodgers, right? Somebody who his mind isn't even on football. His mind is on a 4-day vacation where he's just alone thinking about shit or whatever the fuck he wants to do, right? And at the end of the day, if Aaron Rodgers decides, hey, I wanna be a Raider, right? Well, then you have to now trade compensation away for him, and with no extra compensation from DC, you're gonna have to give up from what you have, and a lot of stuff can happen, man. A lot of stuff can happen. So I do think that the front office has a lot of shit on his plate right now, and they've got to clean it all up. But we'll see. But within these next few days, we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see it finally go down. The DC gets fucking cut. So yeah. At the end of the day, that's what's going to happen within these next 2 days. So, yeah. I mean, he wanted to force his release. He got that. We're not going to get anything for him. And ultimately, you guys, I just don't like the narrative that the Raiders did DC wrong. I hate that so much. I hate that shit with a passion. No fucking regime has gone into a fucking situation, gave the quarterback a 3-year deal, traded for a star receiver, put him on a 5-year contract, extended a superstar wide tight end, gave him 3 more years, and then re-signed their slot receiver, gave him extra years. And then you go out and say that the Raiders didn't do you any good. Shut the fuck up. I just don't like that. I don't like that. Vital says, what sucks is that this looks exactly like what McDaniels did in Denver. How? They had a star-studded tight end that they extended in Denver. They had a slot receiver that they extended in Denver. They had a wide receiver that they traded for in Denver. No. They did all of that for DC. Sabotage? He won the accuracy contest? Congrats, man. I'm so happy for him. He won the fucking pass the ball with no pressure, with no O-line, with no snap. He won the fucking hit the target award. Wow. You know what he also would have won this year in an award if fucking Dak Prescott wasn't a thing? the interceptions award, the turnover award. That dude, like, come on, man. Like, let's be real, dude. It's a fucking business. It's a fucking business. Yeah. What sucks is Carr's a bigger bitch than what I thought. Yeah. Come on, Rodgers, get out of sleep isolation. Deal sign with us. Yeah. He threw a pick in flag fucking football and had a total of about 35 yards and like 3 incompletions. Great. Where's the accuracy there? Where's the accuracy there? Where's the accuracy there? And Dak went to the playoffs. Yeah. A third round pick isn't moving the needle. Win by clearing up cap space. Wait. What? Any pick would have been icing on the cake? Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Any pick would have been icing on the cake for sure. But I think the third round picks are important. Dylan Parham played great in my opinion. So yeah. And he was a third round pick. Who the hell goes 4 and out in a flag football game? He did. Oh man. Halo. Speaking facts. Andy, you need wait, hold on. Andy, you need Mitch R on your show. I think that'd be dope. Yeah, man, I can make that happen pretty easily. Pretty easily, man. If you guys want to see that, I can make that happen pretty fucking easy. I can call the guy right now. Shout out to my brother Mitchell, by the way. Shout out to my guy Mitch. Always going on, always putting on the show over there on his channel, man. That's a good dude as well, man. It's a very good dude. Cowboys defense miles away from ours defense. That's that simple fact. I'll be so glad when Carr is gone. Good riddance. It'll happen within the next day or two. So yeah. The Pro Bowl was Carr's Super Bowl, and he still shat that bed. Yeah, it's just funny, dude. It's really just funny. Carr no longer has my loyalty. He shows his true colors, taking this trade/cut personal. No one is bigger than the Shield. Hey, man, I'm just glad that a lot of people are opening up their eyes to the whole situation. Yeah, I traded DC to the Packers on Madden, and DC threw 4 interceptions against me. He sucks on there too. Well, there you go. Is there any other QBs in other football leagues that we could pick up to help? Oh man, if we're going to the CFL or the XFL, I think we're pretty much fucked. And a better offensive coordinator and head coach. What does Deca defense mean? What does that mean? I agree. We need a better offensive. Wait, what? And a better offense. I think you said defensive players. Offensive coordinator and head coach. Amen. It is what it is. But what is Deca defense? All that, and Carr is the best quarterback available. Yeah, he's the number 1 quarterback on the free agent market. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. But what does that prove? What does that prove, though? They wanted Devontae, and they knew that. Hold on. They wanted Devontae, and they knew the only way to get him here was extending Derek Carr. Bro, Devontae wanted to be a Raider regardless. The icing on the cake for Devontae was that his buddy was here. That's all it really was. That's all it really was. He already wanted to fucking be here. He already wanted to be here, bro. Yeah, I mean, they extended DC and he shit the bed. What's good, my brother, man?
What's good, little bro?
Shit, nothing much. I was here. We got another 10 minutes on air. We got 370 of them in the building, man.
Goddamn.
Yeah, man. You should go ahead, shout out what you need to shout out. Get off your chest what you need to get off your chest, man.
The game was fixed last night. No, I'm just fucking with you. But if you think about it, you look at the AFC Championship game and how that shit played out in favor of the Chiefs, and then some bullshit defensive holding as they're driving down the field with seconds left in the game. Like, come on, man. There's a lot of things that you could see that it was like, this dude is truly the poster child. They're the new Patriots of the fucking NFL, and it's kind of sickening. But in regards to, go ahead.
Do you think that Aaron Rodgers would even want to come to the AFC in this
Yes.
division? The AFC
Yes.
West, play Mahomes, Herbert, Russell Wilson 6 times for 6 games, and then get to the playoffs and have to go through Burrow, Josh Allen, and Mahomes again, probably.
Yes, because the seasoned vet in Aaron Rodgers likes competition, and he could beat these guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think he is a competitor. I think he is a competitive person. I think that if he's coming here with something to prove, though, I don't know how much he's going to prove.
I think it's just going to be, for him, it's going to be to just win, and that's it. Look, he'll have Tay back. He has Waller. At this point, obviously, it seems like Renfro's not going to be going anywhere. Jacobs, if we get Rodgers here, Jacob said he will take that franchise tag. So I'm for it, man. And with Rodgers, with all the conversations about this and everybody talking about the contract, we're not going to have the money. Look, they can flip that contract, guys. They can flip it and make majority of it signing bonus, just like the Bucs have been doing the last couple of years with Tom Brady's contract. So we'll still have money on the table to play with, and people don't seem to understand that right now.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the Rams. You know how the Rams been doing their shit over there. Did you see the part where the CBS reporter said something about a DC crying a lot, and Josh Jacobs started laughing at him?
No, but I'd be doing the same thing.
Like that shit, I was like, oh, that ain't a good thing.
Jackpot, baby!
Damn, think about this option right here. He says, with Cam Brasillo and McDaniel's run scheme, I don't think a running back is needed. I would like to see a tag and trade, build the offensive line. Damn.
Our offensive line scored within the top 10 in both run blocking and pass blocking this past season. So, like, we could tweak the offensive line a little bit, but it does not need to totally be torn down and rebuilt. So, look, I want Jacobs here, and that's probably the fan in me, but I've been a huge admirer of him before we even drafted him. He wants to be here. And look at his production his first 4 seasons in the league. Look at his production this past season. When have we had a running back that has been with us this long doing this for us right now? It's been a very, very long time.
Let me ask you something. Chat, answer this as well. Say yes or no. Somebody offers you a first-round pick for Josh Jacobs.
Fuck, man. I'll put it this way.
It's like a late.
It depends.
It's like a late.
No.
A team offers you a late first. Let's say. Yeah. Okay. Let me put it like this, right? Let's say fucking Alvin Kamara or something like that can't play next year, and they're like, we need a fucking running back. They give us that 23 or 28, whatever the fuck the Broncos have.
29th. We'd have the 29th overall then.
Yeah, for Josh Jacobs. In my opinion, you can't say no to that.
All right. The only way I will say yes to this is if
look at what this motherfucker says. I would take the Texans number 2 or the Bears number 1.
Exactly. But all right. The only way I'm taking that trade, especially if it's like a late first round, is if Bijan Robinson is on the board for us. I don't give a shit.
He will be. He'll be there at fucking.
I'm sorry, JJ. I love you, but come on, hook 'em horns. I would have to take fucking Bijan.
Hey, a lot of people are saying that.
God damn.
Oh, check this out. We got a New Orleans fan in the building. He says, "Family, what's up, Derek Carr? Who that? Look, DC. If he goes to New Orleans, he'll get what's on that offense? Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, and what else? Oh, they got that young
Chris Olave.
Chris Olave. They got that one dude, Shaheed, I believe. That'd be a decent little offense, right? And I think that would be something that DC could work with over there.
They have a solid defense. They have a pretty good defense as well. So Look, we talked about that. We talked about that last year, even when Sean Payton was the head coach. We talked about Carr and potential destinations that would have been good for him. And it would be like, all right, maybe a change of scenery would be good. And the Saints were one of those teams. Even now, it would still be a good destination for Carr.
Is this fucking true? Michael Thomas has a $60 million cap hit?
It's something like that because they've been talking about his contract over the last couple of weeks and what the possibilities moving forward with him are.
Is it guaranteed?
I'm not 100% sure.
Yo, New Orleans fan, bro, is $60 million for a receiver? What the fuck? No, the Saints roster is pretty old, but dude, I saw that they're paying Ryan Ramczyk like 32 million this year. They got Demario Davis is older. They're probably gonna lose Marcus Davenport in free agency.
Epic said the Saints are borderline old as fuck roster. Yeah, but you know what? The vets are still putting in that work, man. And like I said, their defense is pretty damn solid. Look, Carr would have weapons on offense. He would have a complete defense, which he hasn't had his entire career. Honestly, I think he would thrive in it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good fit. Just know, New Orleans, what you're used to in Drew Brees, DC don't got that dog. You feel me? Like
you won't get those dope ass fucking fired up chants either pregame either. Just saying.
Yeah, like you feel me? Like you'll get somebody that'll do what I was gonna say do what he needs to do, but shit, I don't even feel like he did that shit this year. You'll get a good guy. You'll get a great guy. If you want a great guy in New Orleans when fucking Mardi Gras is going on, hey, guess what? That motherfucker won't get he won't be in any kind of trouble. Like you won't have to worry about any trouble, okay? And I hope you guys have a very good play caller there because DC is yes, and he will never change that goddamn play. So you better call the perfect game every game in order to win because that motherfucker is not going to say, fuck you, coach, I'm doing it my way. He won't do that.
You just said goddamn in the same sentence as Derek Carr.
So yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'm weak.
But I thought he beat Breeze the last couple of games. Hell yeah, he beat Breeze. What I'm saying is what New Orleans used to. They're used to Drew fucking Breeze, the guy, like that man. But yeah, it's just not what DC is right now.
Nope.
It is what it is. So yeah, man. I think that I think that it would work. I think that DC. Honestly, though, I think that DC would probably go to the playoffs in his first year with New Orleans.
That's a hot take.
I think he'd go to the playoffs in his first year with New Orleans. What did they like? What was their record this year?
I don't even remember, but at the same time, you have to take into consideration how weak the NFC South is right now. So yeah, there's a chance that they could even win that division potentially this coming season.
New Orleans is like, hey man, we held you to 0 points and not even crossing the 50. Come here, we want you. Take the motherfucker, dude. Like, take him now. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Bros, there's only one time that DC has lost to the Saints, and it was under McDuty. Yeah, man. I mean, DC was. Were we saying that DC played great that game? Oh, hell no. And why was it that when fucking Jared Stidham comes in, boom, we crossed the 50 in 3 fucking plays? Just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. At the end of the day, I've been on here for a fucking hour. I've got to take my ass to work. So I appreciate all the 380 people that we had up in here at one point, man. On your way out, please hit that fucking like button. If you haven't already hit that sub button, do that as well, man. Go check out my dog. Hammer's house, bro. It's pretty fucking simple. Hammers and then fucking house. If you know how to spell, you'll go to the channel, hit that sub button, and yeah, everybody enjoy their day, man. But I hope everybody has a great Monday. I love y'all. Stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'm out, you guys. Peace.
Welcome to the Death Star, where our opponent's dreams